Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Let's jump right into it. Some bite down boxing last night. A pretty damn good card on DAZN. Headline. Well, the card was basically to set up a rematch of Chocolatito Roman Gonzalez and Juan Francisco Estrada, with those two guys fighting in the co-main and the main event, with Juan Estrada up in the main event again in a rematch against Carlos Cuadras. So we'll get to that in just a second. Let's start down at the bottom of the card with Otha Jones III out of Toledo, Ohio, against Kevin Montiel Mendoza. Um, Tough break for Jones III to go down there and end up, finding out a new opponent 24 hours, left to get ready. This Kevin Montiel kid comes in and he's undefeated at 6-0. Otha Jones was what, 4-0? Yeah, 5-0. Leaves out of there 5-0-1. Started out pretty good. I just kind of had the same question. I'm left with the same questions that I had when when Otha Jones III faced the Manriquez kid, I believe is his name. And Manriquez has turned out to be kind of a pretty tough kid. I'm not gonna lie. This Kevin Montiel, Jones was taller. I just don't know what Jones's identity is as a fighter. You don't have the power at this point. You don't have one punch knockout power. You don't have the power to where you're getting guys out of there left and right. Two knockouts in his 5 fights. Not horrible, but are you a brawler, pressure, slick boxer? I just don't know. And it seems like he's kind of regressed from the first fight where I saw him with the Georgi Gelashvili, when he was an undefeated fighter in his pro debut, and he had a wide decision against Gelashvili, and showed like to be a very versatile fighter and a solid boxer. But now it's like seems to be rushing a little bit. And I mentioned this with the Manriquez fight. You're the house fighter. You're the matchroom fighter. Take your time. Make this guy not look like he's on your level. And again, I just felt he was mixing it up with Montiel a little bit too much. Like, come out and work the jab. Come out and work the jab, set up your right hand. He was switching southpaw. Maybe that wasn't a good thing to be trying or to be doing too much. He did get a boost from going to southpaw a couple times, but just show some boxing IQ, some ring IQ, and beat the guy. And maybe Kevin Montiel is no slouch. He let his hands go more. He was more. He landed the bigger shots. I thought the cleaner, bigger shots. These are all things with throwing in some feinting, jabbing, using your quickness, using your reach. These are all things that I felt like OJ3 should have been able to execute. And I don't know. He kind of looks, just looking at him, he looks like he might be stuck between in styles or what he wants to be. I don't know. I'm not trying to bash the kid. I know the family and whatnot. A big fan of what they're trying to do. I just wonder and you have to be somewhat understanding. Not all the gyms in Ohio have been opened up. I believe Charles Conwell was down there with him ringside with Roshan. But and that's what I'm kind of seeing some parts of Conwell's game, but not applied the same. Conwell gets compact and goes to work. He's inside trying to go to work, but still standing kind of tall. So that's not what you want to. That's not what you want to do. And when you're taller, like Conwell does that because he's a short super welterweight. If you're a taller super featherweight, you might have to do some things differently. But again, I'm just talking about just execute the basics and I thought you should have been able to get through this guy. But again, he took the fight. He could have skipped, he could have just let the fight go and not fought. But what I was gonna say was, I wonder if Matchroom will kind of ease back with him a little bit, maybe let him fight on some local cards or something in the Ohio, Detroit area, and maybe figure some things out, because you don't want these performances, these learning fights. It ain't so great of an idea to have all these eyes on that as a kid is trying to figure out. He's a decorated, amateur. So I don't know. Austin Williams was next up. Ammo against Esau Herrera. 5th round TKO. I thought a pretty good performance from Austin Williams. Managing that space. He perfect example, and I've talked to both of these guys about this. I had an interview with Ammo down on the playlist if you want to check it out. But it's just that spacing, that timing, sitting back, uploading that information or downloading it, and how to attack it, and to attack it to your advantage, work with your strengths. And that's what I saw here with him. He was taking those small steps back, jabbing here and there, setting up some good left hooks here and there, and not allowing this dude to really make him look bad. There was some trouble there with keeping the punches above the belt. He finally worked that out and got Herrera out of there. The ref stepped in and stopped it. Not a bad performance from Ammo. It's definitely a chance to get back in the ring, move to 6-0, and see if they can get him back in before the end of the year. Diego Pacheco, super middleweight. This kid is 19 years old, 6'4". I mentioned in the preview video yesterday, or just talking about the DAZN schedule, that conceivably we could see him and a guy like Edgar Berlanga at some point colliding with one another. Although this kid is, like I said, he's 19. Lots of knockouts in his 10 fights. Got the stoppage last night in the second round. But Juan Antonio Mendes, despite being 12-2-2 going into the fight, I think he had some inactivity problems. He was a shorter guy. This was just a very a learning moment, a learning opportunity for Diego Pacheco to execute some of the things he's been working on. Like I mentioned, he said he was on the Akin Barak show on SiriusXM Fight Nation, and he mentioned that he spent 6 weeks in camp before David Benavidez, the former WBC super middleweight champion, and he said he held his own and learned quite a bit, and it's just beneficial to his maturation, as he tries to work his way into becoming a contender and fighting more meaningful fights. So obviously when you're 6'4", tons of directions for you to go with your career, but good power. He was working the uppercut beautifully. Taking his time and setting things up. It's something that OJ3 needs to tap into. Just, you don't have to rush and do. I said this after the Manriquez fight. You don't have to do everything at once. Some of these guys, you should just be able to get into one or two tools in your bag and get a victory. Moving on to the big names. Julio Cesar Martinez against Moises Calleros. You can either miss weight and be you were just a little heavy, and maybe it could be used to your advantage, or you could be 6 pounds over like Calleros was, and look like and it'd be a hindrance for you, and you just be a guy who's out of shape. He looked like a guy who really who hadn't had a lot of work in the gym. And Julio Cesar Martinez took him apart quickly, second round stoppage. Excuse me. I just like the way that Martinez, I just love the way he punches with both hands and is so tuned in with, if I touch you with the left, you're likely going to be over here open for my right. I just like how he works his opponents with both hands, and it's just like a very controlled brawler, you know. So he moved to 17-1, adding the second round TKO for Calleros. Then we get into the co-main event: Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito against Israel Gonzalez. 12 round. This ended up being a 12 round unanimous decision. You know, Gonzalez started out pretty good using his height. And even in the fourth round, he caught Chocolatito in the middle of the ring with a good flurry of punches, a good combinations that really seemed to really pause Chocolatito for a moment and hurt him, phasing really quickly. But Gonzalez, Chocolatito, man, is all pressure. He's not as sharp as he used to be. You know, here's a dude 33 years old with 53 fights, the 2 losses to Sor Rungvisai. Some wear and tear in that. It's wear and tear in getting ready for all of those fights. Then it's the wear and tear from the fights. So I don't know how sharp he is moving forward, but I thought this was a hell of a fight. He wins it with 118, 110, 117, 111, and 116, 112. He just beat the fight out of Gonzalez, who had some moments, but again, Gonzalez is attacking, getting out of there, holding the phone, so, he doesn't take a big shot getting out. Feints, jabs his way in. I mean, he does it all. He bangs, he boxes. But again, like I said, with him getting this victory and setting up this rematch with Estrada, who I'm getting ready to get to now, I do have concerns, some concerns about fighting other elite fighters and the Juan Francisco Estrada. So let's go on and move to the main event with El Gallo and Carlos Cuadras. Cuadras is a pretty talented fighter. He's a good fighter. Good, he just seems to be a little careless, a little reckless at times. And he gets Estrada. He knocks Estrada down with the left hand in the third round, and it's a fight. We got a good fight. But then Cuadras loses focus, or a guy like Estrada is able to pick up on some timing and some tendencies and start to exploit those things. And I like Estrada, man. He just seems like a very professional fighter. Like this is serious business to him. I like his demeanor. He's a very well-rounded fighter. And just like I said, he just seems like just a real consummate professional. And that's the thing with a guy like Cuadras, who is just like this daredevil, takes risks, takes chances and whatnot. Eventually, the sharper, more disciplined guy is going to get to him. And so going into the 11th round, man, he drops him twice in that one. The second time, I thought it was over. Cuadras falls down, face forward, and was like, he was all out of sorts for a minute while he kind of got his senses together. So hell of a tough guy. And, Estrada mentioned that he's had some drug addiction problems. This is just a hell of a contrast in individuals. And the more, the more tight-laced, disciplined guy ends up getting him out of there. In the 11th, he comes back and, Cuadras, like I said, he never really recovered from that fight. I mean, from the second time being down. And Estrada is gaining momentum, and he's attacking sharply. It's a good stoppage for the referee to jump in there and save him from being because he was feinting him and catching him cleanly. He was basically striking a defenseless guy while Cuadras was trying to recover, and that's never a good sign. So I'm not gonna knock the referee for stepping in there. He got up from 2 big knockdowns, and you just ran out of time there. So like I said, this will propel us forward to an eventual rematch between Estrada and Gonzalez. With Estrada getting knocked down early in the fight, it does, it makes you believe that a fight with the Gonzalez and Estrada, Chocolatito and Estrada at this point isn't something could be dangerous, really dangerous for Gonzalez. But like I said, Gonzalez's style, Chocolatito's style, is walking into the fire constantly. And it'll be a good rematch. It'll be a good fight. And if it was to be his last fight, and I had some video of the press conference, the post fight press conference after the Yafai fight when I went down to Texas before the pandemic set in. Gonzalez is like this not spiritual is not the word, but he's like this warrior. The true spirit of a warrior, man. He's looking for challenges. He's looking, it's all about his legacy and his name. It's like an honor for this dude to be taking on these types of challenges. And he really wants to, I was sitting there just blown away at him talking about regaining this WBA title that he won from Cal Yafai back in February or whatever. I mean, I just haven't seen anybody that it meant that much to. So, hopefully they can put together the way to compensate these two guys properly or accordingly, and we get a great fight. So that's it, man. I said some things yesterday in talking through kind of my disappointment with not being able to get a discount or any kind of compensation or consideration on the 3 months plus that we lost. Those of us who had the year pass for DAZN, it is what it is, kind of, but it's still a hell of a value. And I was just talking about the Matchroom content that'll be coming up for the next 6 weeks from the SSE arena at Wembley. They just announced yesterday that December 4th, I believe, will be Billy Joe Saunders and Martin Murray. That'll be that fight, which will come a week ahead of the Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev fight, and so that's just that. But there are some decent Golden Boy and Matchroom USA dates that are also going to be in there. So I mean, you're still getting quite a bit of boxing. Now, is it? The Jacobs and King Gabe Rosado fight, maybe you don't like that one. I think the undercard has some decent fights on there, some decent matchups on there, some developing fighters. November 5th, I believe, is or 7th is Gamboa taking on WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney defending his title against Gamboa. I think heavyweight Philippe Hergovich might be on that one. I think it's the Chinese heavyweight is on there too. So again, man, I mean, yeah, you might not be getting these high-end fights, these very, very high-end fights, but those are so rare right now anyway. So like I said, man, I think it's still a good value. If you look at the $160 that you're $150 to $160, you're getting ready to pay for the two PBC pay-per-views with Gervonta Davis and Santa Cruz, and then Spence and Garcia, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence Jr., to pay $99 for a year, it's not hateful, And lastly, I mentioned this before, like, I pay my $12.99 or whatever it is for Netflix. I mean, and I don't watch Netflix all the time. I just don't. It's a few series on there and in some movies, like now I got to catch this Chicago Trial of the Seven or whatever. But, so anyway, it's still a good value. I'm going to get on out of here, man. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.